In the land of Mordor, where the shadows lie. It was here, on the slopes of Mount Doom, that the Dark Lord Sauron was defeated by a last alliance of men and elves. It is here that for 2,500 years the Rangers of Gondor stood watch, guarding against a nameless threat they had all but forgotten. And while the strength of Gondor faded, the power and malice of Sauron grew in darkness. He has returned to Mordor. Shadow and flame have fallen on the Black Gate, and no mortal man can stand in its path.
Hello once again, players of good video games. My name is Nick Pell, and this is my review of Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor. This game came out a few weeks back, but I'm now reviewing it today. I played the PS4 version of this game, just so that you are aware of that, in case you want to compare different versions, I suppose. So in terms of story, the story is actually really well done. It's a lot better than I really expected the game to be. Players play as a man named Talion. He is a ranger, and he is one of the more badass people in this game in the Lord of the Rings universe that I'm aware of. I guess this is kinda spoiler alert, but not really. This happens right away in the game. His family gets killed, and then he himself gets killed, but he very quickly realizes that he cannot die. Every time that he dies, he comes back to life like 12 hours later or something. And to try to reverse this process and break the curse, he has to go and try to destroy the Black Hand, which is the person who casts this curse on him. Joining him is an elf who is a very good archer in spirit, and he has a very big importance in the game and in the world of the game. I don't want to say who it is, just for regards of spoilers, in case you haven't played it and you don't want to know who he is, because it's revealed about halfway through the game who this person is. One thing which really impressed me about the game right from the get-go was the tutorial. The way the tutorial works is that it combines the teaching of the basic combat system and actions of the game, along with the story, which most tutorials don't do. They'll just throw everything at you and then really start up the story. This game immerses the two, and I really enjoyed seeing that. The game also has really interesting characters. Talion is very interesting, and his elf companion are both interesting characters. We also get to meet a bunch of interesting characters throughout the game, from certain goblins to Lord of the Rings specific characters such as Gollum. All these people are in the game in some way, shape, or form. And it's really interesting, for me at least, to see the background of all these events that are happening as they lead up to the main trilogy that everybody knows and loves. In regards to graphics are actually pretty good. The CGI cutscenes look amazing. They look really well done. And they're actually quite common too, which really surprised me. They're not just at the beginning and end of the game. They're immersed throughout the whole course of the game, and they just continue to look really good. The in-game graphics, you can obviously tell that they're in-game graphics, so it's not like The Last of Us. They too look really good after you get used to it after a point. And now we are at gameplay. Gameplay is where this game could either make it for someone or break it for someone. And for the longest time, I didn't really enjoy the game as much as a lot of people, and I'll explain why now. First up, combat system. Combat system is very reminiscent of both the Assassin's Creed series and the Batman Arkham series, because the combat is very similar to that. You counter people. You don't kill them automatically when you counter them, but you can counter them, and it plays very similarly to Assassin's Creed in that regard. In terms of Batman, once you stun someone, you are able to just hit them consistently, kind of like how Batman does that when he hits people with his cape, and just punch away at them. So the combat system works very well. You also get control of your elf companion, who is able to shoot arrows with you, and it's like ghost arrows, so they still penetrate, but you can't really see them afterwards, which is cool. There are loads of upgrades for your character as well, which focus on either spiritual stuff, or with upgrading certain abilities, or with upgrading how many runes you can put into your weapons. A bunch of stuff you can upgrade in this game, and it's fairly easy to actually accumulate experience and points that are needed for this, as long as you do a bunch of the side missions, which are a ton in this game in terms of collectibles or side missions that you have to do, or just a bunch of different things. And now we get to the part which would make or break it for a lot of people, and for a while it broke it for me, and that is the Nemesis system. This is a new system, as far as I'm aware, where the game continues to go onward after you get killed. It doesn't just boot you back to a checkpoint before the events of your death. It just keeps on going, and any enemy that kills you during this time remembers it, and they will get stronger, and so you have to fight them at a stronger level next time. You also get to see the ranks and the army makeup of the orc army, and then eventually, once you get to a certain part of the game, you can really start to morph this army to your will, and you can almost get the whole thing under your command after a certain point. It's just a really, really cool way to do it. But like I said, it takes some time to get used to for me. The first time I sat down and played this game, it really annoyed me just with how difficult it could be sometimes to navigate it, and with the enemy that you cannot defeat consistently getting stronger. So that was one thing which really did bug it for me. You really have to strategize when you have certain targets that you're trying to take down, because they will be immune to certain things like arrow shots or combat or stealth, and so you have to really improvise at some points in terms of how you're going to take these people down, especially when you're surrounded by 20 enemies when you're trying to take down one captain or one warlord or something. That being said, the game can get kind of repetitive. There are 2 instances that I'm aware of where you have to go and take down 5 of a certain rank of orc or Auric to advance the story, to unlock the next mission, and so that can get kind of frustrating when you just want to go through the story like I tend to do with games and kind of leave the side stuff for afterwards. So it does kind of force players to more explore the world, so it is good in that regard, but like I said, it can get really frustrating. But in terms of enjoyment, I, at this point in playing the game, am really enjoying Shadow of Mordor. I think that it's a fun game. It's definitely worthy of the scores that's been getting the last few weeks, and I would definitely say pick this up if you are at all a fan of Lord of the Rings, or if you are a fan of Assassin's Creed or Batman Arkham. I think that they're both really good indications that you will enjoy this game if you can spend some time on it and get really in-depth in the story. The story continues to get better the more you get into it, and I definitely recommend this for anyone who's interested. That being said, let me know what you thought of Shadow of Mordor down in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Did you like it as much as I did? Did you despise it more than I did? Let me know. Like, favorite, comment, and subscribe. Once again, Mega People, if you so choose, I'd appreciate it immensely. And as always, my name is Nick Pell, and once again, keep on gaming.
Put the sword down, Ranger. The Black Hand wants him alive! Take her!